Curtis tagged along with search crews today as dozens of rescue squads from across East Tennessee join in to help find Matt Reagan. It's now 9 days later and the Reagan family is still waiting for answers. Paige definitely has the right idea. She's only 6 and she eats even better than I do. Live in the studio, Symphony Sherman, North Coast News. I'm here at the water plant where Jefferson worked so hard to become employed, and that's where her body was found. Yes, Scott, Chief Andrew Mills posted ads on both Craigslist and Facebook asking for trimmers, and the offers flooded in from all around the world. Folks who live in the area have begun gathering goods for the family that has lost their home. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for North Coast News, KAEF, ABC 23 News at 11. I'm Symphony Sherman. Mashburn takes a walk through his neighborhood as often as he can. But while he walks, he's thinking about where he'd rather be, the ball field.
Everybody likes to do something, and when I got into Little League, it just grabbed a hold of me, and I love it.
You can see this sign bears his name, but a few years ago, a trip to the doctor revealed some devastating news.
His vision was 2,400 in his right eye and 2,200 in his left eye.
Going blind is a serious issue in any time, but I'm a very active person.
Losing his vision has changed Mashburn's entire way of living.
Really, I can't do much right now. Just, I have a lot of friends come by and pick me up. We go eat lunch or do different things, but I've not quit. Never quit if you got an illness. Be positive and go forward. I mean that.
These tools help Mashburn see. They magnify what he's looking at and change colors so he can see better. But it doesn't help when it comes to calling a ball game. The reason? Now when he looks at the field, all he sees is a blur.
It was sad I was going to have to step down, and then God's made a way that we can have a chance to see my eyesight again.
That way was through an experimental stem cell treatment that came with a $20,000 price tag. But if it can get him back on the field, Mashburn says it's worth it.
I'll be down there calling as long as I can make it.
Symphony Sherman, News Channel 11 in your corner.
Hello, my name's Lewis Martin. I'm calling on regards of your ad on Facebook for the trimming job.
Yes, you heard right. That's Chief Andrew Mills receiving a call for a trimming job. It's part of a sting operation his department is conducting. They put ads on Craigslist and Facebook looking for trimmers, and the response was beyond their wildest dreams.
You have 71 new voice messages.
He's received dozens of phone calls.
I thought I'd get a few people, but when you get hundreds of responses, it just shows you how big the problem is.
The problem, Humboldt County being the spot for those willing to get their hands dirty and trim some marijuana. But with this green thumb comes danger.
What happens when these people get stiffed? What happens to the victims of sexual assaults up in the hills? What happens to the people who wind up getting murdered? This is a violent county, and this is a violent industry within this county.
Mills says that a lot of trimmers don't realize the risk that comes with the marijuana industry, which is evident by these emails filled with people's personal information and even pictures of themselves. Chief Mills making sure to follow up with each inquiry, telling those looking for work the risks that come with it.
If we can prevent a few of the people from coming, it's good for us. The message has to get out. This is a dangerous, violent group of people who are growing marijuana in our county.
Tenants at the Budget Motel were busy moving out their belongings Friday morning due to a mandatory evacuation ordered by the city of Eureka.
The Budget Motel is being closed down and boarded up because of a number of very significant violations.
We talked to a man who didn't want to be on camera, but tells us that he's lived here for a long time and considered it home.
I've lived here 6 years. This has been my home. So I just lost my home.
But staff with the city of Eureka says they don't know how anyone could ever consider a place like this home.
Many of the rooms have feces over the floor, both human and dog excrement. Several of the rooms are completely soaked in urine.
I took a tour of the property and saw what the fuss was all about.
That smell is urine, just in case you were wondering.
You can just see the filth covering the entire property. There's feces in the bushes, trash everywhere, and even bed-bug infested rooms.
He never did nothing to repair anything, or it's like roach infested, bed bugs.
The owner told me that he was shocked to hear his property is being closed and that it was a complete surprise.
Without any notice, without anything, I feel like I'm dying.
Brian Iza is a building inspector for the City of Eureka's Public Works Department. I asked if the owner was aware of the code violations, and he told me that the problems at the Budget Inn have been happening for years. This is the cafeteria at Alice Burney Elementary School. It's jam-packed with kids eager to fill their bellies. But it's not your typical school lunch. Most of the food is organic and locally produced.
And we're just trying to bring the freshest, healthiest food that we can possibly bring into our school meal program because we want nothing but the best for our students at Eureka City Schools.
Eureka City Schools are working to make nutrition a key element in their schools. First, by bringing in healthy food choices, like you see here, and second, with a new food calendar. The calendar lists a meal for each day of the year. It then tells you who is supplying the produce.
We're trying to incorporate food that is grown in our area into our school meal program. It's healthier, we feel, and it's also beneficial for the students to know where their food comes from.
This fancy calendar in my hand right here was donated to Eureka City Schools by the Humboldt County Office of Education. And you can see with it, students will always know what they're eating that day. And then up here, you get to see a picture of the farmer supplying the produce, as well as information about them. Kids at Alice Burney say it's important for them to eat healthy so that they can grow up tall and strong.
Well, it's really good that you eat lots of cucumbers and carrots, I've heard, to get tall.
To get tall?
And to have better eyesight.
Paige is in first grade at Alice Burney Elementary School and says that her school lets her pick what she eats, which means a lot of fruit and veggies.
I always eat food that gives me energy.
You do? Like what kind of food?
Like, I'll always get strawberries if they're there, carrots, cucumbers. I get all kinds of stuff, even broccoli.